Hello and welcome to a special episode of the Northern Spectre. Today we're going to do a countdown of my top 5 favourite ghosts that we've covered in the 130 videos on this channel. We'll be starting off in one of my favourite pubs in the world with the story of Jack the Gibber from Marsden Grotto in Sunderland. On the jagged edge of the coast stands Marsden Grotto, a pub carved into the limestone. But before the tourists arrived, it was a tomb for Jack the Gibber. Jack was a smuggler who broke the code of the coast, selling information to Her Majesty's customs. His crew didn't just kill him, they made him a living monument of betrayal. They forced Jack into a heavy wooden barrel and suspended it by rusted chains in a dark cave near the current day lift shaft. They left him to starve in the darkness, listening to the tide he once sailed on. Today, witnesses report a rasping sound of a man trying to scream through a throat parched by salt and madness. He appears as an emaciated shadow, his hands looking like skeletal claws as they scrape against the inside of a non-existent barrel. When he's near, the air smells of rotten seaweed and the copper of old blood. For number 4, we go to Birmingham and the dripping man of Gas Street. Birmingham has more miles of canal than Venice, and every mile is a vein of dark water. Gas Street Basin is the city's liquid graveyard. The dripping man is a spectre of the machine age. He was a boatman who fell into the oily depth, his lungs filled with the toxic sludge of the Industrial Revolution. He manifests on the back of narrowboats, a sodden heavy presence that smells of rotting wood and chemicals. He leaves a trail of black water, a fluid that moves like ink and never dries. He isn't looking for a way out. He's looking for someone to pull down into the silence of the towpath. Because in the dark water of the basin, everyone is eventually forgotten. At number 3, we go to Glasgow and the story of the Gorbals vampire. In September 1954, an urban legend manifested into a mass hysteria that the police couldn't contain. Hundreds of children, armed with steak knives and sharp sticks, swarmed the Southern Necropolis. They were hunting a monster, the Gorbals vampire. Witnesses describe a 7-foot-tall spectre with iron teeth that had allegedly snatched and devoured local boys. While the authorities blamed American comic books, the children knew what they saw. To this day, the necropolis is home to a shifting, jagged darkness that moves between the graves. It isn't a vampire in the Bram Stoker sense, but a residual predator, a shadow that smells of wet soot and old blood. If you hear the sound of scraping metal against stone, run. The children were right to be afraid. For number 2, we go to the Lake District. Lake Windermere to be precise, and the CRIER of Claife. It began at the ferry nab. A cry for help echoed across the water. A boat, a boat. A young ferryman rowed out into the darkness that swallowed his lantern whole. He was found the next morning, a broken man. His youth had been stripped away, his hair was snow white, and his eyes were fixed in a permanent stare of terror. He died days later, never uttering a word about what he found in the fog. Today, hikers on Claife Heights report rhythmic, heavy footsteps that follow exactly 3 paces behind them. When they stop, the footsteps stop. The coordinates on the map don't just show where the CRIER is, they warn you where not to go. My favourite story that we've covered on the channel so far, we go to Liverpool, Bootle to be precise, and the Headless Horseman of Bibby's Lane. As the decades passed, the merchant became a bogeyman. Local lore tells of a headless horseman who haunts the last night of the year and Halloween. He's seen driving a phantom coach down Bibby's Lane, connecting March Lane to Peel Road. But the most horrifying detail? He carries his own severed head in his lap. Parents use the tale to keep their children inside. Get in before John Bibby finds you. He was no longer just a victim. He was a hunter on horseback, searching the parks for children to kidnap. For the kids of the 70s and 80s, the dare was simple. Walk down Bibby's Lane after dark. I hope you enjoyed this look back at some of our ghosts. Stay tuned for new content coming. Next week, we will be looking at the screaming skull of Audley Hall. Please like, subscribe and share. Thank you.